Ricky.
Get a test.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. How's that? Thank
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's weekly Sunday meditation service. My name is Victor, and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We also want to welcome everybody at home in the PJ Sangha joining us from all the way around the world for our morning service this morning. Welcome to each and every one of you. And so we hope that our service this morning finds everyone happy and healthy. But please know that if you are struggling in any way, we hope that Temple Buddhist Center service this morning and our time together can be a source of strength for you, a source of refuge as we open our hearts to you and to your loved ones. Let's begin our morning together with some conscious breath work. A conscious breath is where we seal the mouth, take a single deep breath up through the nose, hold that breath for a moment, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Holding that breath for a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs, and releasing slowly. And as you release, checking in once more with the body, noticing any points of tension or contraction, remembering to release the forehead and unfurrow the eyebrows. Let the shoulders drop away from the head, and let the belly soften. And with each out-breath, we find a new level of gentleness with the body, a new level of ease. And a second conscious breath together. Holding for a moment. And releasing. And as you release, giving yourself full and complete permission to unplug from that energy of going and doing and striving and efforting. As together, we cultivate the energy of just being. As we cultivate that energy that requires nothing of us, is a boundless, endless source of vitality and essence. And a third conscious breath together. And releasing. And as you release on this third conscious breath, allowing into our awareness the present moment. The present moment might seem like a small increment of time, but it has no beginning and it has no end. And we are always arriving in the here and the now, in this moment. And so here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our services with a little bit of chanting. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition. Chanting is not about being a singer. It's about having a voice. It's about a deeply devotional expression of that which is sacred within you and sharing that with the world. And not only is it an opportunity for us to combine our energies together, both near and far, but also to share our voices, raising those and sharing those together. Today's chant is Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dharmam Saranam Gacchami, and Sangham Saranam Gacchami. You might recognize this as the prayer of refuge, the three jewels of Buddhism, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And this chant honors those three jewels of the Buddhist practice and reminds us that the three jewels are not separate from us. We are a part of them, and they are a part of us. And so let's take a moment to breathe together. And let's begin. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dharmam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. Again. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dharmam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. Once more. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dharmam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. And here at Temple Buddhist Center, we practice Western Buddhism. Western Buddhism is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And this new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic, it's inclusive, it's active, and it focuses on core Buddhist insights, as well as mindfulness, meditation, and their practical applications in our daily lives. Our goal here is not to get everyone to agree on a specific lineage or philosophy or sect of Buddhism, but rather it is on a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting together, sharing from the heart, or spending time in noble silence, we respect that you will participate at a level that is comfortable for you. And we take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, valuing awareness of our Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, bringing a fresh new perspective to each and every encounter. The second jewel is the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And of course, the third jewel, our Sangha, spiritual community, an essential part of growth where we practice the teachings together and help each other along every step of the path. So let's take a moment now to silence any cell phones or electronic devices, or if you're at home, maybe you need to put the dog out or take whatever's in the microwave that's beeping out, whatever you need to do to help to create an atmosphere of meditation and contemplation. We're going to begin with the prayer of refuge, which we will recite 3 times together. Let's begin. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, We go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. And so as we prepare now for a time in meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then we invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you this morning. If, however, you are new to meditation, we're going to begin first with a dedication of intention. We will awaken the bell 3 times for the 3 jewels, and then our teacher today, Mr. Robert Brumet, will lead us in a guided meditation that's designed to assist you in moving into the stillness. We will spend approximately 10 to 12 minutes this morning in noble silence, connecting with not only each other here in our immediate Sangha, but with the world in consciousness. Afterwards, we will sound the return bell, and then it will be time for today's Dharma talk, or teaching. So let's take a conscious breath together. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
As the sound of the bell recedes slowly into the silence, we allow the mind to settle. Settle naturally, just allowing the thoughts to move through the mind without engaging them. Allow the sensations to move through the body without any resistance. We allow the heart to open as it wishes. The body relaxed, the mind becoming still, the heart gently opening. This brings us closer to our deeper nature, to that which is hidden and often overlooked in our lives of busyness. So we recognize and acknowledge this other part of who we are. This part of ourselves that speaks in the silence, it speaks the language of silence, the language of peace. Just allowing the sounds, the thoughts, the feelings to move through like ripples on a pond. But we go deep. Deep into the still place, untouched by the noisiness, the busyness of the world. And I invite you to drink from this pure, deep, holy water that is your essence, that is your true nature. Resting in the silence, just being. Just being in the silence. At this time, I invite you to become aware of your body, sitting in the chair, on the cushion, becoming aware of your arms and your legs. Being aware of hearing. And in a moment, you'll hear the sound of the bell. And as you do so, I invite you to gently open your eyes and include seeing in your practice. So that when the bell rings, the practice does not end. It just changes its form into an open-eyed meditation, continuing the practice of awareness of thoughts, feelings, seeing and hearing. And here's the sound of the bell. Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
3 more days before winter starts. You know, that's when it gets cold. So, yeah, we are at a time of the year when we begin to become aware of the season of darkness and coldness. And in a few days, we'll have our New Year's retreat, which is always a wonderful acknowledgement of the solstice and the turning of the year. And as such, I'd like to talk to you about the universe and astronomy, which is the theme of our retreat. One of my favorite topics in astronomy is that of the black hole. The black hole is something that's very enigmatic, quite fascinating to me. It's like a big riddle. Scientists haven't quite figured out what it is, you see, because it defies all of the known laws of physics, of science. When a star dies, it collapses. Stars are very large, you know, extremely large. Our sun is, I think, kind of a medium to small star. There are stars much, much larger than our sun, and when they collapse, some of them collapse into a sphere that is so dense that the gravitational force is so strong that even light itself cannot escape. I mean, that's really pretty powerful when you stop to think about it. If you had a flashlight and you tried to shine it out of a black hole, it could not escape because the gravity would pull it in. So we can't even imagine the force, the power of these great objects. And it seems like all of the laws of physics kind of fall apart. They say even the black hole is so heavy it tears the fabric of time and space, which was hard to even imagine, you see. we find that the center of our galaxy is a large black hole. And they're discovering that the center of every galaxy may be a black hole. So the galaxy, the stars, the solar systems revolve around the black hole in the Milky Way and in other galaxies, much the same way that the planets revolve around the sun. The black hole is so powerful that it would immediately destroy our solar system if we got close enough to it, but fortunately it's 26,000 light years away. 1 light year is 6 trillion miles, by the way. So I'll let you do the math. It's a pretty good hike, let's put it that way. So I think we're safe for now. So I talk about black holes astronomically, but I also want to acknowledge the fact that although the universe is something we live in, the universe also lives within us. We have the universe within, the universe without. As above, so below. As without, so within. And so I want to talk about internal black holes as well as external black holes. Just as the black hole is the center of our galaxy and all of the stars revolve around that black hole, so the personality, the human personality, revolves around an internal black hole. So the structure of the psyche is much like, in many ways, the structure of the universe. So I want to talk about how that black hole is formed and why it's of very great interest to us who are seeking to awaken to our true nature, to our true goodness. So I'm going to use a term that you may not hear too much in Buddhism, but it's very common in other Western psychologies, transpersonal, the Enneagram, and in other fourth way practices that they're called. And that is that we have two natures, basically our personality, which is the outer nature. That's what we think we are for the most part. It's what we identify with. But there's also an essential nature that is less visible, less obvious. And this essential nature is what we seek to touch in the practice of meditation. So in meditation, we let go of the personality or let go of our identification with the personality, and we allow ourselves to begin to touch that essence. And so the intention is that we are able to integrate our essence and our personality so that we can be true to our deepest nature. We can touch the power, the presence, the beauty of who we really are and bring that into the world. So the work is not to escape into the black hole, but the work is to integrate the essence and the personality. So let's talk about how the black hole is formed. As we incarnate into human form, we are pure essence. I think that's why we all are attracted to babies and very young children. You know, for me, I'm almost mesmerized by the face of a young child or an infant. They radiate this essence, you see. because there's not the occlusion of the personality. There's not the facade of the personality that is in the way of the essential nature. However, the infant, beautiful though she or he is not able to function in the world the way an adult can. And so the process ideally would be one in which our essential nature is taught how to function in the world, and therefore our essential nature and our personality would be essentially one and the same. And we could bring all of who we are, the beauty and the power of who we are, into our everyday life and our relationships, rather than have to create the facade of a personality that happens. So we're pure essence at birth, but for that essence to be formed in a way that's functional, it needs to be nurtured, it needs to be cared for, it needs to be modeled. And unfortunately, we live in an imperfect world. We had imperfect parents. Some are more imperfect than others, but no father, no mother is capable of being a God. We're all human. And as such, we did not get every need met. We may have been traumatized or neglected. We did not get the support for our essential nature. Our parents probably didn't want a spiritual being that was powerful and beautiful. They wanted a good boy or a good girl that was going to grow up and go to college or whatever they wanted you to do, you see. So we were shaped after the image and likeness of the world, rather than our essential nature being nurtured and cultivated. So as such, when we traded our essential nature for the personality, so to speak, there's a wound. There's a wound in the soul. There's a hole, if you will, in the essential nature. That black hole is very painful. Forgetting who we really are is very painful. So in order to mitigate that pain, what we have done is that we have turned to the world to try to fill what was missing in that hole in our soul. So if we didn't get the love that we needed to acknowledge that we are love itself, if we didn't get the support for our innate love, then we found that we had to go to the world, to other people, to get that love. That we had to do something. We had to be a certain way to be loved. Or if our innate perfection wasn't mirrored, then we were taught that we had to be perfect. We had to act perfectly. We had to always be right, you say. Or we always had to be strong or powerful, or if our innate wisdom wasn't mirrored, then we found we turned to the world to be smart. And so the personality then is a way of trying to compensate for what feels missing in the essential nature. And as such, the personality then becomes a counterfeit, if you will, a covering for the true nature. So by studying the personality, we can determine what direction we need to go into to discover what our true nature is. So in the practice of the Dharma, we put the personality to rest, if you will. At least we don't euthanize it, but we do let it rest for a while. We meditate, we go to retreats, we live simply in the stillness. And as such, the personality then starts to quiesce, starts to become quiet. We become much more aware, potentially, of our essential nature. But what we become aware of first is the whole that we feel. Before we feel our essential nature, we feel what's missing, or what felt missing in our essential nature. So the first thing that often shows up is that black hole. And that's why so often as we do this practice, we begin to find that we touch something that can be kind of scary. And that's why we need the Sangha, that's why we need the Dharma, that's why we need the teachings and the teachers to guide us in this practice and to tell us that it's safe to enter into that deep, dark cave that feels perhaps very empty. And for some of us, it's a place where we feel maybe very unloved, very lonely, very alone, uncared for. For some of us, we may feel a great deal of fear of being hurt, fear of being abandoned, fear of being alone. For some of us, it may be a place of feeling very flawed, imperfect, a lot of shame, perhaps. So it's the very thing that we want to stay away from. And so it's so easy in the world to escape into the world. I mean, it gets easier all the time with technology and with the endless entertainment we have around us in our culture. It's very, very easy to get lost in the world. You know, FaceTime, Facebook, me.com, et cetera, et cetera. All of that is about escaping from who we really are. So, with the practice, we let that go. At least for a while, we let it go. We allow ourselves to feel that emptiness or that aloneness or that dark place. And if we can stay with that, and that's why cultivating the practice on a regular basis is so very important. Not to do it just here and there. Because when that happens, we meditate and we continue to meditate when we feel good. But when we get closer to that black hole, we say, well, I think I'll turn on the football game or whatever you say. Nothing wrong with football, but it's a way of escaping, as is so many other things you say. So if we can stay with that black hole, we find that it takes us into the essence of who we really are. And interestingly enough, there's some theories in astronomy, some cosmologists, some astrophysicists believe that the black hole in outer space may be a portal to some kind of a parallel universe. That it's possibly an opening to a reality that's beyond the one we know in the physical universe. And in the inner black hole, that certainly is the case. That black hole is a portal into our true nature. So it's very important that we not run away from it, even though it's challenging, even though it can be very frightening to us. So following the essence. And when we do that in our meditation practice, when we let go and let go and let go, staying with the breath, staying with the chant, staying with whatever it is we're concentrating on, focusing on, as we do that, we begin to feel the essence, which is kind of that nice peaceful feeling. Feels real good. But then eventually we begin to feel that black hole. And so a lot of times people will say, I must be doing something wrong. It doesn't feel good anymore. The longer I sit here, the harder it gets, rather than the easier it gets. And that's really good news in the long run. It doesn't feel like good news, but it's good news in the sense that it's taking us closer to that hole that's going to take us into the portal, into our true nature. So the bottom line is hang in there, keep doing the practice, and get all the support you can from teachers, from teachings, from the Sangha, because that's what you take with you when you go into that black hole. You see, the experience of the retreats, of the practice of months and years of doing this, that's what keeps you going. That's what will sustain you when times get difficult. And when times get difficult, like I say, that's actually good news, even though it doesn't feel like it. So I just want to honor your practice and encourage you to stay with it when it feels good, stay with it when it doesn't feel so good, and know that it's going to take you home to your true nature. So, may all beings awaken to their true nature.
Thank you so much, Robert. Let's take a moment to just embody the teachings, dropping down out of our head and into our hearts. And as we transition now into a heart practice, you might want to shift your posture, take a breath, or wiggle a little bit to adjust as we go from the Dharma talk into a heart practice. And today's heart practice is a metta practice. Metta is one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, or the 4 faces of the heart. Basically means loving kindness practice. And so as we do the heart practice, it's not uncommon for there to be an outward or an external acknowledgement of the practice. Some people like to place a hand on their heart, or perhaps even both hands. Or it's also totally acceptable for the Anjali Mudra, which is a focusing of the heart energy. Or some people can simply let their hands with their palms facing up rest on their laps. And so let's begin with a conscious breath. And as you release that breath, I invite you to bring to mind the image of you, a full body image of the form that has been given your name and that has accrued the many experiences over the years. And holding this image in your mind's eye, recite silently to yourself these words of metta practice. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. And may I be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as we release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a friend of yours. And holding this image of your friend in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a difficult person in your life, a challenging person, perhaps a boss or a coworker, a neighbor, or even a political figure. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of the world, all the plants and the flowers and the trees, the animals of the land, the sea, the sky, and all sentient beings, including ourselves. Holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta to us all. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be safe from inner and outer dangers. May we be well in body and mind. And may we be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And in the true spirit of dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services here are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, which means not in return for anything that you have received today, but rather so that those who may be seeking refuge may find it here in this temple with these teachers and with these teachings. And we take a moment of gratitude. Oh, and the dana boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall. And we take a moment of gratitude for all of our wonderful ambassadors, those folks who've committed themselves to regular monthly electronic giving. It's not about the amount, it's just that the regular monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at TBC. Tremendous opportunity for our hearts to fill with gratitude for all of our volunteers here at Temple Buddhist Center who work each and every day to bring more opportunities for spiritual nourishment, for opportunities for classes and instruction, and just reaching out to the community as a whole and in general. Also, thank you so much to Rochelle for your wonderful music this morning. Thank you so much, Ricky. Thank you to Mr. Robert Brumet for a wonderful talk today, for your wisdom and your friendship and everything that you do for all of us here at Temple Buddhist Center. And also especially thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your heart and your presence and your practice with us here at Temple Buddhist Center. We certainly are the better for it. And as we prepare to end our time together, I will put the Bodhicitta dedication up on the board, and we will recite this 3 times. I'm sorry, not 3 times. That's the prayer of refuge. The Bodhicitta dedication, we'll recite that once together, and then we're ending just a little bit early because I have a few announcements for you, so I hope you can stick around for a few of those announcements. And now, the dedication together. May the pure, brilliant sun of Bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with our hands together in front of our hearts, as we go forth now from this place, may we enter each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, so much. I have a couple of things to announce. Of course, there's delicious coffee and cookies downstairs, and tea as well downstairs. And so if you'd like to go downstairs, get some of those. You can sit around, make a new friend, talk with folks. But there's also the post-service discussion group, which meets as you go out the meditation hall doors to your left. It's in that hallway right there. And also, thanks to our wonderful Sangha member, Matt, we're looking at starting a second post-service discussion group. So those of you who have been coming to the 9 a.m. service just so you could go to the PSD, well, now you can come to the 10:30 service and still go to the PSD, the post-service discussion group. So we're going to be offering that starting up the new year here, right? Probably in January, Matt. And so that will meet, we'll fill you in where that meets. Also, Beth Sarver, one of our members of our Sangha and our director of our youth and family program here, needs help to build our 2023 youth pathways for our Sunday 10:30 services. Also on a note of that, we're no longer going to be offering any child services at 9 a.m. That includes the Angel Loft. So we're encouraging, and it's because of a staffing problem. So if we can get more people, then perhaps we could reopen that. But right now, all of our youth services will simply be at 10:30. And that includes Angel Loft as well as preschool, all the way up to our teenagers. So if you're interested in helping out, there's a business card on the counter right outside the door. There's also a volunteer sign-up sheet, so please check that out. For the retreat, we are full as far as residential goes. So if you're wanting to stay there, all the rooms are full. However, there is still room for commuters and virtual. And so if you haven't signed up yet for that, please do so as soon as you can. We have to turn in our food requirements by, pretty much by Wednesday of this week. So that we can start gathering up, the caterer can start gathering up food and stuff. So again, you can join as a commuter or virtual. Commuters do get 3 meals a day, so that's why we have to turn that in. So just go to templebuddhistcenter.com and you can get registered. Awakening the Universe, the Dharma, and Cosmology is our theme. So we hope if you want to make it to that, you can. If not, again, don't worry. We try to have full-on 4 or 5 day retreats at least twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, and then we offer day-long retreats every quarter. So lots of opportunities. And if you still want more of a retreat, please contact me. I can send you to some other places. Our full moon meditation's coming up. On January 6th, there'll be dances of universal peace. We're going to build a flower mandala. There will be chanting, and there'll be a dedication of peace for this to the Ukraine and to Iran and so many parts of the world that are struggling so terribly right now. So come and join us for that. And by popular demand, our mala bead workshop is January 26th. Registration is already filling up for that. Right now, I don't know that we have a limit, but at some point we'll have to cut it off so we know how many beads to get. So if you'd like to come and learn about the origins of the mala bead, to learn about how it's used as a meditation tool, and then create your own, whether it's for you or for somebody else, you can come and do that at the mala bead workshop. And on behalf of Robert Brumet and myself, we want to thank our good friend Doug for making these mala beads for us. What a beautiful gift that he just gave it to us. He said that during his board meetings at work, he sits there and makes mala beads. I wonder if they know that. And as always, our lending library is open and available to you. Please come out and check out and see if there's a book on meditation or mindfulness. Lots of great articles available to you. Let's see if I had anything else on my list. No. Oh, there's a 30-minute meditation at 12:10 every Sunday right across the hall in the meditation center. And at 12:30 is Buddhism and 12-step recovery. And Dave leads Recovery Dharma every Thursday at 7 p.m. Is that so? There'll be one more this week or no? Right? Okay, and then you'll take a week off after that for the. Because does that fall on a holiday? Okay, so this coming Thursday, just give us a shout out on email or text. But right now they're all scheduled, so we're all absolutely running. Thank you all so much for being here and for sharing your presence. I wish you peace, blessings, and go Chiefs.